I need to stop moving my eyeballs so much, because that is not good. G'day folks, it's Wren here, and today we're going to do a 5 Friday video based on my comfort reads. Because let me tell you, I'm in desperate need of comfort. Okay, so my health has not been super great for like a month or two, and I had a really bad day in April and I needed all of the comfort I could get. So I read one of my comfort books, and then that got me thinking, what are some other comfort books that I have? And here we are with a 5 Friday video. So these are just my personal comfort reads. I highly encourage you to read all of them. They are really great, but let me know down below, what are your comfort reads? Okay, so let's get the obvious out of the way, shall we? I'm sure this would be on everyone's list, but that is the Heartstopper graphic novels. These are the first 4. So excited for volume 5 to come out, and then we're getting a volume 6. But these 4 graphic novels are just absolutely adorable. They're about these 2 boys in high school in England. They become friends and eventually more, and it is just the sweetest possible story you could ever think of, because they're just, it's so wholesome. They're so kind to each other and loving, and their friends are really great. And this does deal with a lot of hard-hitting topics while not feeling like a heavy contemporary. And also Alice Oseman's art is just like soft and sweet and very much fits with these characters, and they are gorgeous. I love Nick Nelson. I'm sure everybody else does, but these definitely, I read them at least once a year, if not twice a year, depending on how I'm feeling. But they're really great. Highly recommend if you haven't already read them, and if you haven't watched the show, go do it. It's phenomenal. Number 2 on my comfort reads list is Radiance by Grace Draven. This is such a different kind of take on the fantasy romance subgenre. This is an arranged marriage between 2 kind of warring races, but they're trying to develop a peace treaty. So Ildiko, this lovely redhead lady, she is meant to marry Brishan, this guy who's kind of orc-esque. But yeah, these 2 are very different people, different races, and they've never met each other before except on their wedding day. And on their wedding day they meet up, don't know who each other is, and they're both like complaining about the other race and just saying how like hideous they find each other. And then when they realize that they're the ones getting married, they're like, oh okay, this isn't so bad then. And the fact they're just constantly like insulting each other is adorable, and they have the best friendship, and it's soft and sweet. And then they come to love each other, and then, you know, it gets a little steamy, and there is some fantasy plot in there as well. It goes more into the fantasy plot in the rest of the series, and that's why I haven't read it yet. But this one, it's sweet and adorable, and you just want to like be around this couple because they're beautiful. Next up is Date Me Bryson Keller by Kevin Van Wy. This is one of my favorite books of all time because it's so odd. When I first read this, I think I gave it like 3 stars because I was like, oh, the writing's not super fancy or something. And then I couldn't stop thinking about it at all for like the next year, until I did a reread, and I'm like, 5 stars is fantastic. I love everything about it. I'm still on that 5-star bandwagon. This is so cute. So this is a YA contemporary, and it focuses on these 2 guys. So Bryson Keller is he's like the hottest guy in this high school, but he doesn't date anyone. And then for their last year of high school, basically all of the year 12s dare Bryson to say yes to anyone that asks him out. And they have this whole, like, the whole of the school knows that this is a thing, and every Monday whoever asks Bryson out first, he will say yes to. They'll date for a week. It is just between like school times, and there is no kissing, nothing further than kissing. And those are like the rules that like Bryson has set up for himself. And then one morning, Kai asks out Bryson, and this is the first guy to ever ask Bryson out, and Kai isn't out yet, but for some reason he's just like, oh, why not? Why can't I like be a part of what everyone else is a part of? So he asks out Bryson, and Bryson says yes. And then they have this little like fake dating thing happening for the week, except it turns out to be not so fake. And it's just very sweet, and it does deal with a lot of hard-hitting topics, but again, done in a very I don't want to say subtle, they're not subtle, but it's done in a really sensitive way is maybe the way to put it, because it's not like these hard-hitting topics are the entire book. It's like they are situational. So, you know, there's like this whole thing about coming out and that gets really hard, but it's done in a way where it's digestible. If someone is in a really vulnerable place and you read this, I don't think it would trigger you as much as some other books. Because, you know, you never know what people's triggers are or what volume they're at. I can't really words lately, so that's a part of my chronic illness, chronic health journey is words aren't learning, brain isn't braining. But anyways, I find this just so adorable and it's just so sweet, and I feel like that is kind of the vibe that I want with comforting reads. I don't want anything too intense plot-wise, which I'm not getting with any of these. These are all kind of more character-driven stories, but there is always plot in them. They're soft and sweet and cute, and I highly recommend. And then number 4, I have Creepy Cat. So Creepy Cat is a manga series that I randomly found. I randomly found the first one at my library, and so I read it and I ended up falling in love with it, so I've bought the entire series. There's only 4 volumes, but this is such an easy read because I'll show you some of the pages. It's like that. And sometimes they almost feel like this is a separate story from this, but they all are one story. It's, especially in this first one, it is a lot of like slice of life things, because our main character Flora, she moves into this like gothic house and she's a gothic artist. So she's living her spooky dream in this house and she finds a cat and she ends up calling it Creepy Cat. And then it's just looking at like why this cat is creepy. It's like it goes from one cat to many cats. And it can do a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, and like it like eats people, but in a cute way. There's just something so funny about Creepy Cat. And then we have another one. Yeah, in this series, there ends up being like 4 or 5 of the main creepy cats. But like there's lots of them, and it's just cute because it's just a bunch of cats. Well, it's a cat that can become many cats. And then there are a few other cats, and they're just living their creepy lives. They multiply, they stretch, they can walk through walls, they can fly, and all of these kind of odd things that normal cats don't do. Creepy Cat is very dedicated to Flora, and it's just like... Okay, so there isn't too much plot in this series. It's just about cats. But they're all creepy, they do odd things, but they're so cute. And like... this long black one here, this is one of my favorites because then its human wears it like a scarf and that's adorable. But yeah, and there's this one and this one and this one and this one. They're just cute and it's like gothic vibes, and it's so cute. I honestly can't say anything about it because, like I said, there's not much plot happening, but it's just creepy cats being cute. And then the last on this 5 Friday comfort reads is the comfort read I actually read when I was on the verge of calling the hospital because I was in so much pain, and that is the Remaking of Corbin Whale by Wren. This is probably the quickest book I've ever reread after reading it for the first time. So I think I read it in like June and then I immediately reread it again in July. And now I'm already on my like 3rd or 4th reread and it's only April. That's pretty good. But the Remaking of Corbin Whale is a adult contemporary and it's about these 2 men falling in love, so it is queer. Our main character Alex, he returns to his hometown to take over his mother's business because she can't anymore. He starts up a bakery because he is a baker. There's so much like food reference and it's just like him baking all the time and it's beautiful. And then he notices that there is a guy that always comes into the bakery and just sits there for hours. This guy is Corbin Whale. The word autism isn't used, but the way he describes himself, the way Alex describes some things that he does, it's autism. The way this autism is portrayed is stunningly beautiful. When these 2 guys start growing closer with each other, Corbin is a bit afraid because his aunts always told him that whoever falls in love with a whale will die within a year of them falling in love. So Corbin doesn't want that to happen to Alex, and so because of things Alex has said, Corbin decides to try and bake the curse into whatever baking good, like into bread I think he was using. He baked the curse into the bread and then burnt it to hopefully like get the curse out of him, and then he can allow himself to love Alex. And it's just, it's such a sweet romance, and the way Alex cares for Corbin and cares about Corbin, and he's just so calm and understanding and like accepting. He's very good about all of these autistic traits that Corbin displays, like zoning out a lot, not speaking, or the way he speaks, there's no inflections, and the way he sees the world or explains things. And Alex is always just like, you know, that's amazing, I love how you think, you know, this is beautiful. I was like, yeah, can't everyone see autism that way? Because that would be great. And I highly recommend the audiobook for this book because the narrator, great voice, and I love how he speaks when he's Alex and how he speaks when he's Corbin. Anyway, those were my 5 comfort reads. They are so much needed in my life. I need all the comfort I can right now. Yeah, let me know what some of your comfort reads are and why, because mine apparently seems to be cute. Anyways, I hope everyone is doing well, and I'm sending all of the lovely healing vibes to everyone. And I will see you in my next one. Bye!